What's wrong with the world? Why do we, the human species, seem incapable of organizing ourselves to ensure peace and prosperity for all? I think that one of the answers to this question lies in how we currently think about selfhood. After all, if you're going to hate someone, if you're going to exploit them or commit an act of violence against them, you have to have some idea of what it is you are hating, exploiting, or violating. You have to have some kind of internal picture of what sort of thing the other person is that informs how you believe you should act towards them. And then there's the case of AI. Some of us seem really frightened of the newly emerging AI technologies that are rapidly developing week by week. The fear stems from the idea that machine minds will replace us and make us humans redundant, intellectually, creatively, economically. On the other hand, some of us think that notion is laughable, that machines are inherently mindless automata that will only ever come as far as imitating us, not replacing us. But whatever your feelings about AI, whether you believe it will replace us or merely imitate us, in order for you to have any opinion about this at all, you need to have some idea of what it is that AI is going to replace or imitate. You need to have an idea of what a self is in order to decide if an AI can be a self. To most of us, what a self is may seem really obvious. There you are, listening to this right now, and you can feel yourself to be you. You can feel yourself within your body. You are alive, you are conscious, you are you. Well, sometimes things seem so obvious, so common sense to us, that they disappear from view, and we don't even see them anymore, and we don't question our assumptions about them. This is, I think, the case with how we think about selfhood. After all, you've gotten through your life so far believing that you are simply you, and it's served you pretty well, right? Except I would argue that the way in which we think about selfhood is not serving us quite so well. The way we act towards others, the way we act towards ourselves, and our response to intelligent technologies are all influenced by our preconceptions about selfhood. And just look around you. There is plenty of evidence that people are treating both themselves and others atrociously. And superintelligent machines are progressing much faster than our debates about how we feel about them, let alone what we might want to do to regulate them. Therefore, I believe that one way of making the world a better place would be for humanity to rethink the question of selfhood for our time. What if the way you experience your own selfhood and how you perceive the selfhood of others is actually quite outdated and old-fashioned? It wouldn't be your fault. I mean, how often have any of us had the time to really consider how we conceptualize what we are? We have lives to get on with, jobs and families to take care of. So having an easy shortcut to conceptualizing ourselves and others is useful. We may have never even spoken in words what we think a self is, and yet we can go about our day being selves and having relationships with other selves. So we have some kind of deeply ingrained unconscious theory of self that we inherited like an unspoken rule since childhood. In some ways, this implicit idea of what a self is has served us well. People are taking care of themselves, their jobs and families, to an extent. But as I already suggested, it is probably also harming us in ways we don't even see because our ideas about selfhood are that deeply ingrained. As chance would have it, I have had time to devote to this question. For just over a decade, I've been researching how we think about selfhood and how we could start to collectively reimagine it. This work has led me to believe that even if we began to collectively reimagine selfhood, this very act of reimagining could reframe our interactions with other human beings and ourselves to become more compassionate, mutually liberating, and authentic. I really do think that addressing the question of selfhood for our time could make the world a better place. Because to destabilize the assumptions that exist about selfhood would be to destabilize some of the very ideas that make the kind of violence and ignorance that we are seeing today possible in the first place. In 2023, I published a PhD thesis in which I collected all this research and posited a new theory of self, or more specifically, as it turned out, a theory of character and the human being. The thesis is called Scripting for Agency, and you can access it via the link in the description box. I'm now in the process of revisiting this work, especially against the backdrop of world events as I record this in 2025, and feel that the need to revisit selfhood is more relevant than ever. As I reread my PhD thesis, I recorded myself going through it with a view to publishing this work in the more accessible format of a video lecture series. This is the introduction to that series, and from today I will publish a new video twice a week until a full playlist of lectures is complete. Through this lecture series, I want to take you on a journey through some research on selfhood in order to equip you with some new perspectives on what a self is or could be. At the very least, I want this journey to serve as a kind of mental playground in which you can think freely about this question, try on different perspectives for size, and maybe come up with your own new theories of self that I didn't think of. As you can probably imagine, a journey through ideas about selfhood is going to necessarily require us to make pit stops at a lot of different kinds of disciplines. We're going to need to consult philosophy, sociology, anthropology, psychology, computing, AI, neuroscience, complexity science, evolutionary theory, and many other schools of thought. But what might surprise you, especially if you are new to my work, is that most of the ideas in this research are going to come from the fields of art, literature, and theatre. These are my areas of expertise. I am a contemporary artist and a lecturer in fine art at the Glasgow School of Art in Scotland. As an artist, I work predominantly in performance art and creative writing. And the PhD project that I'm going to take you through was undertaken in the art department at Goldsmiths College in London. I actually chose to be an artist precisely because I wanted to become a kind of scientist of the self. And art happens to be very well suited to the task. This is because artistic practice has a way of directly tampering with some of the materials that go into making up selves in the first place. And more generally, an art practice is something like a cultural laboratory in which artists experiment with communal beliefs, feelings, norms, and aesthetics, or what we think is and isn't beautiful. In my work, I created a performance art practice that became something like a laboratory for making experiments on my own person, creating a space in which somebody looking at my performance art could imaginatively play with their own intuitions about selfhood. Indeed, being as this is a piece of artistic research, half of it comes in the form of artworks I have made, and the other half comes in the form of a dissertation on selfhood, character, and agency. This video lecture series covers the second part, the theoretical part. If you want to see the artworks, you can find them linked below. So let the lecture series begin. You shouldn't need any prior knowledge to follow along, but if you are stuck on understanding something, comment and I will endeavour to get back to you soon. Finally, while you would get the most out of this video lecture series by watching it in its entirety, I will link more condensed versions below when the series is complete. With that said, I hope to see some of you next week for the first instalment of this series, Scripting for Agency, an artistic inquiry into selfhood, character, and agency in the age of AI.